Call our meeting to order. Let's get my microphone out here. Let's call our meeting to order. It is 5:06 p.m. Roll call. Or shall I call it?
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. All right. Stand for pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No phone participation tonight. We have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Motion by Jeff and a second by Dan. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? This agenda is approved. And moving right on, we got a motion to discuss our fiscal year 2024-25 budget.
So moved.
Motion by Owen.
Second.
I don't know if Austin snuck in on that one.
Rock, paper,
As a
scissors.
second. We'll give it to Austin. Owen, second by Austin. All right. A couple of emails going back and forth about on the budget items to just mix them and trying to remember what they were. I know the public works stuff, I had made comments, let's just pull that out and other discussions about that. Did, Rena, did you have anything you want to comment on that? Or
The only thing I did, I moved things from this current year to next fiscal year. Because the Fund 90, again, is something that it's not set in stone that we're going to do it for this year. So, you know, and we haven't had all the quotes in yet, so it didn't make sense to change much more.
So, I'm trying to understand what you meant by that. Can you explain to me one more time, Fund 90, why do we call it?
That is our long-term capital improvement fund.
Okay.
So it's more of a, you know, wish list and also for, you know, expensive items that we can't run through the general fund.
Emergency stuff. Water,
Yes.
sewer main breaks. We borrow loan. $1,000. Fixed it several times. It's kept breaking. That fund, rather than borrow money, we took it out of that fund.
Okay, so for the public works stuff, wish list, we moved into Fund 90.
And I moved it to next year, so it can be rediscussed for next year. It's just, it's an, you know, earmark saying that these are the things that may need to, you know, be repaired, but we can, you know, hopefully push them off until next year.
Okay.
So then they will be rediscussed next budget as to, do we still continue or do we move in a different direction?
So you changed the, when I look at the capital improvement general from the last time that we had, we went from 432 to the 287. So
Correct.
that, and we had talked about that there was carryover from last year, so we didn't need to allot any from this year, that we could use that carryover in this capital. Is that how that's being utilized?
Well, the capital, whatever I will have left over is still going to be moved into Fund 90, but then they will be there if there is an emergency that it's not identified as at this point.
So the difference between the 432 and the 287
Was things that I moved from this year's to
to
fiscal year
26.
26.
And then what about that 10,000 we had talked about that it's never been used? Was that taken out?
No, I didn't, because it is going to need to be used. We get money from cannabis, and it can only be spent for drug intervention. And since we don't have a police department We would like to see if we can set up something with the sheriff's department so that we will give the money to them and they can use it for drug intervention for us.
Like in the schools or something?
Schools, yes,
Okay. So that's earmarked and can only be used for that?
the revenue that we get from the cannabis can only be used for that.
Okay.
And it would be expensed through Department 51.
And then the other thing that changed was this 5,000 CIP interest received that wasn't on the last one.
Yes, I added that in.
Okay, and what is that?
That is money from the interest for the money that they have in the bank.
And that always goes into Fund 90?
We use whatever money is in Fund 90, get interest on
Okay.
the money that's in Fund 90.
So other funds that you have money for, that interest goes into those funds as well?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't see these on my phone when I was traveling.
Karina, on the first page here, it's page number 2 in the packet. Water and Sewer Fund, Department 77 and 79, the North Plant Department, the South Plant Department. I think I noticed there's $6,500 more those expenses. Explain that.
I had to add the, what we discussed for the land applications. So I had to increase that to cover the, I made it $18,000. So between the two. Would you like a copy, David?
So then, I have one more question on the 90,000 for the, it had been 105 and it was just marked down to 90. We had talked about it being 50 just for the tennis courts. What's still in that 90 then?
I didn't change the Veterans Park. There was still 35,000 for that.
Okay, so that's the 50 and the veterans?
35 in the veterans. It's 50 for the tennis courts, which should have been moved to 40.
It's still 50 in expenses because I have the 10,000 in income.
Oh,
They're separated.
okay.
Right.
We were talking about dropping that to 5,000, move that 30 into the Fund 90 for future allocation.
No,
But then, here's a question. The gaming money goes into our parks. Was that gaming money?
all gaming money is, has to go to our parks.
Right.
But as far as what I did with the other, I reduced the trees for Mansfield Park to 5,000.
5,000, that's what Don said, right?
Yeah, and then we have the tennis courts 50 and Veterans Park 35.
I'm still not clear on what the $35,000 for Veterans Park would be. I know it was talked about last time, painting a gazebo, but
It was just an estimate that I received as to how much it would cost to, put into Veterans Park. But I haven't got any real quotes yet, so it's an estimate.
And Chris is working on a plan for that. That's on the agenda for next month. So they're working on getting a grant, be a matching grant where we would match. So I think it's a good idea to hold money there. So if we do need to match the grant up to whatever they can get us, make improvements there. A lot of stuff they will do, like the paving of the parking spots, stuff like that. Me, Chris, and Christy, Chris and Christy met last Sunday. Talked about it, went over it. He brought a schematic of the park, and there's like a slot of land that we might have to buy from the granary. It's just like a little quarter of an lot that she owns right along the pathway, so we're going to donate that to us.
Who's her?
What's it?
Who's her?
Papa Grind. Papa Grind.
Oh,
It's
that
right
greenery
there.
on the
Yeah,
other
right
side.
where our picnic
Okay.
slabs are.
thought you said
right there, so
greenery
we
too.
need to ask for
I
a
know.
donation.
I've lived here all my
Once we
life.
find out-
I've been in there.
No, I
Once we
thought he
find
said
out-
greenery too.
Once we find out what she's willing to do, so we want to set some money, like, hopefully it's, I guess, 38. And then he's drawn, they're donating this, and she's doing that research. Chris is doing the park layout, doing this, just like to see. Chris has it all drawn out, totally drawn for it. All out, laid out, so it costs, getting quotes on the, power washing. Like I said, that hasn't been done for thousands of so the pathway, as I discussed last, hopefully, will come together. I remember I talked on the call, about the agenda setting, put on there, the updates, just gonna put on there each month until we get all the updates. And that way we have some money. Yeah, more. And then Christie mentioned about it, downtown, possible plan to where we can do things, for area, clean it up. I don't think it's hard to hold that money there. If we don't do it this year, it's there, we can move it, we can do it. So I think it's a good idea to leave that there, okay, everyone. So just in case you do get something, start doing something by the end of the fall. Whatever you guys want to do.
Karina, I see that the 10,000 for the boardroom equipment's still there, the sound system. Seems like everything's working well now.
No, it's just jury rigged. It needs to be
Okay.
redone.
Brandon, did you start the YouTube? Start the YouTube?
Yeah.
I got a message.
Tell if it's running.
Go on it.
Okay, Betsy, you had some,
2024, it's live.
I'm sorry?
It's live.
Betsy, you had
But
asked
if
me
you
some,
hear it, can you hear it?
I hear something.
heard a call.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, the crack lines.
It's delayed like 40 seconds, so. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there is crackling.
It's audible,
Yeah.
annoying.
We'll get it fixed.
Okay, you had asked me some questions last time about, extra revenue and if the revenue was not budgeted correctly. So I looked what made up our additional income this year, and it's all for items that are not, budgeted, like the extra interest because we had more money and the high interest rate. It's something that is a one-time thing. And now when the money is gone for the Public Works building, we're not going to have that. We also had litigation that we made money from, and we had insurance proceeds, and we also sold equipment. In addition to that, we did not fund the accountant position, so there was money left over for that. So when it's all, it really isn't anything that had to do with the regular budget for the revenue. That may be a little bit of a difference, but, not that much. And you had also asked me about the money for the Christmas, the tree lighting event, and it's actually closer to 6,000 than what we had. And the reason for that is I forgot about the lifts that we have to rent in order to put up all the Christmas decorations.
All throughout town.
Down Main Street.
And then the Christmas tree and, for the village hall. Right. No, that is in the community events. Department 55. Yes, that should be in that.
Karina, I noticed there's still 50,000 allocated to repairs for the old public workshop. We discussed maybe reducing that by about a third.
Right, but we haven't got any quotes yet. So just because it says 50 doesn't mean that you have to spend it.
Right.
You're waiting until you get the quotes in.
Yeah, David's in repairs to,
We can always be allocated.
say it's 30 grand per roof. It's 60,000 for a roof, so it's gotta come up with another.
And as far as the general, I did reduce the travel, both in admin and in the clerk's department, so there's $500 in each one. And just making sure everybody know that is where we normally would charge if anybody was going to IML.
So how do we cover that? next
So
time around?
there's no money for IML right now in the budget.
I noticed too that 4,000 was taken out for training for the clerk's office. Was that
Correct.
Terry's request then, or?
No, that was Don's
My
request.
request.
Okay,
Copy
I must have overlooked that one, okay.
We were looking at the Boone County budget, and their clerk's office has 2,500 for travel, and they have more people in their clerk's office, so just everybody kind of, to put that in perspective, I think ours was high, for sure.
How much did they use last year on it?
I think around, it was just shy of 4,000.
What they used for
It,
the,
it should be on the report.
County's not part of IML, they go to some other training, county something.
what do they
Right.
go to?
Right, but they're still, their training is, you know, they're still doing, it's a clerk's training.
There's what, 4 people in the clerk's office in Boone County?
Yeah,
I think,
or
3 or 4, Jessica. 3,
yeah,
2, and then
there's
there's
4,
a medium one
With
right
Julie.
now. 3,
3 plus the clerk.
3 in the clerk, I think.
Mhm.
4 people, yeah, 3 assistants and clerk.
Karina, on the last budget at the last meeting, the amount for auditing services, under Department 50 admin, I see it was increased on this budget for tonight by 15,000.
I increased it by 25,000.
25? Okay. Maybe I looked at it wrong.
That's for the forensic.
Should be
audit.
47,000 in there, I believe.
I'm
Right
seeing
down.
42. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong spot.
It was 17 plus 25, 's 47. Unless I did a,
Yeah, 17 for Lauterbach and then 25 for, your. 42.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
and the forensics audit, you know, there may be another phase to that, end up having to reallocate. We have to, get that money in for the forensics audit.
yes, I understand the forensic audit has to be allocated in the budget. So if you need more than 25 for this year, we need to change that.
Forensics audit will start out as we, depending upon what they find, what the city.
In the first year, I mean, well, I can put it up to 60.
Where you gonna take the other,
Just where I took the money that we're using for the administrator position, I reduced the amount of money that we are sending over to Fund 90. So should I change it to 60?
Yes, please. If it doesn't get used, then we'll have it left over.
I thought it was 5 grand.
That was for preliminary,
Aren't we gonna start with that, the preliminary?
the 25 covers 2 years. And it might be less. Depends.
Question, hold on.
It's an hourly service. It's not a, report.
So for 5 grand is, explain that again, what it covers. You said if they see flags, no flags, they're gonna tell you, we don't wanna waste your money.
Correct. So, well, it will begin as an hourly rate. So, begin audit, plus attorneys doing an hourly basis on what they're doing. They will give a report back where they're at. Go along, pay the bill, read the reports and sit down.
Okay, and now explain to us, what are they auditing? What are they looking for?
Maybe that, we should wait on that meeting.
All that
This is just about the
information was
budget.
provided to you in all the quotes.
There's a lot of stuff provided to us.
Oh, yeah.
But what are the
Spend hours
specifics?
reading.
So when you say,
That'll
okay,
be on the
guys.
topic when,
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the meeting, hopefully they're here.
And he wants to increase it by $35,000. Do you think we should talk
Yeah.
about it? That's what this is
but I mean,
budgeted
it's just
about.
gotta be put there, doesn't mean it's gonna get spent, I mean.
Oh, I understand, but he can give an explanation. Are they gonna look at the credit cards, or are they gonna look at the,
That'll be the first thing.
first phase is credit cards for fiscal year, which one's first?
Probably 2023.
2023, okay. So then, once that's completed, then what's the next step?
It will be up to them.
So let us know what they need to look at next.
I will give them all the information, and they will work back.
So this could go on and on and on and on, basically. I'm just asking, hey,
If we just took one of the options, 4 years, $60,000, or 6 years, $60,000, we could have just bumped it all down, but I thought that wasn't optimal to do that. I thought that would be unnecessary. I think it was more productive to start with
year by year.
and see where we are. And then if they say we need to look more,
We look-
look more.
I want to be informed. I
And
mean,
if they say this is really not a whole lot here, our recommendation.
So are they gonna
You can
give
keep
us,
paying us if you want to, or you can cut it now.
so like Betsy said, placing controls, are they gonna do like a control recommendation as they're going through this audit?
They will report on.
Okay, and make recommendations. So then you wanted Sickage to come in also and do a control.
Sickage, it's time for us to switch yearly auditor.
That's fine.
The rule of thumb is we don't hold auditor for more than obvious reasons. I'm not gonna spend the time. to
No,
go through
okay.
them all.
Ask the city of Dixon.
The city of Dixon, that's all you gotta say.
All right.
The Queen of Hearts, wasn't it?
I do have a
Information,
question.
that's wanting to understand
Karina.
better. We talked a little bit, now I have a better understanding of it.
Every 3 years, and they've been in here.
And Lutterbuck and all has been there for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's good to change it up. Everyone does.
How often do you guys change it, Betsy?
We change, well, we have internal auditors too, so we have a little different dollar level. We have internal audit, and then we always did our external auditors as well, every 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years, okay.
Karina, I have a question about bad debt. So we had talked about bad debt, and you had said that you don't have very much bad debt. But then there was an email that came out about, and someone that had stolen a truck, and they still owed restitution. Did we write that off? Or are you still holding that as outstanding debt? And do we have anything else like that? Or do you take percentages of that off, expecting that you're going to have a collections company to have to get it? Or how do you handle that?
Most of those, there's nothing on the books that is listing as bad debt for that
I see.
incident. But when we do get it in, it is off-charged, so that we still receive it. Normally, we get money every once in a while from the county that they have collected on our behalf. But most of those, I mean, you may never see.
So you didn't
Any
show
of
it as in the beginning because you're cash based.
Right.
So it's just whatever you get's whatever you get. So you're not
Correct.
going to have any bad debt because of that.
Right.
for anything, but, so the expense of all of that, we just took it at the expense when it happened
Correct.
as a write-off, okay. I was just wondering how that was handled,
Sure.
not understanding. And then if there's other outstanding, like judgments, like we just got the one that had been outstanding for a while and we negotiated it and got it, we don't, you're not accruing anything like that, showing it in the budget as an expectation.
Correct.
So you just kind of consider it free money when it happens.
Right. And it's not very much that we have that is outstanding. I mean,
So
it's
what kind of
small.
dollar amount would that be as an example?
I would say less than, well, I would have to go and look and see what's on the county. They do give us a report for outstanding things once in a while,
So-
but it's not much. Not even a couple of thousand.
So we don't have any outstanding judgments at this point in time, like the last one was larger on the two houses that we had. So we're just not, you're tracking that in a spreadsheet just to make sure that we keep track of it at some point in time, or?
The only other thing I would say, there is a outstanding for Eden Fruit
Okay,
that we were going to try to get because we had not collected on that. And that is something that we were trying to do. That one is on the books, and it's about $200,000.
so it's on the books as an expense, or it's on the books as accrued income that you're expecting?
It's on the books for, possibly money that we can get from litigation, but it's not, we have it in and out, so there's no effect on the bottom line because we're not sure if and when we will be able to collect.
Okay, so that's the largest item that we have outstanding is the
Correct.
200 from Eden
Yep.
Fruit. Okay, and there's, have we made any movement towards trying to collect
It
that?
was something that the attorneys were working on.
Okay, all right. So we don't have a time frame, because if we knew, we should put it on as
Well,
revenue
it's gonna,
too,
right now, it will stay on the books
expectation in the
until,
budget.
there is a movement on it.
And that's how old?
It's pretty old.
I would say
Yeah.
it's uncollectible at this point. Served for years.
So then if it's uncollectible, then can we take it as a loss since we?
Correct, yes.
So should we take it as a loss then?
It depends on what the attorneys found. I mean, they thought it would be something we would be able to collect on.
200.
About 193 to 200, I don't remember exactly.
That's old from food over there. 'Cause we have the property. We did get the property, but still all the old, things.
That's the one that was
Part of it is. Part
That's
of it's
where,
still there.
yeah, part of it.
tearing it down.
That's where the.
Do you have any information on that, David? Were you involved in that at all?
Last I knew, he in the county, they've got some county funds that they had a hard time getting them served.
So is that something that would benefit us to write it off? Is that something we should talk to the auditors about?
Probably talk to the attorneys first to see what they found.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know what comes about with that. I'm just trying to figure out if we have anything out there and how we're tracking it and make sure that everybody's aware of it.
Right.
So,
So they will make note of it.
yeah.
Get some answers, buddy. Do your magic.
No, I was 103. That's the one. What property?
Food property.
Eden Fruit.
Park Street, from a long time ago.
Oh, and that's something, especially with the issue of that we're gonna be switching attorneys, that we really need to make sure that it stays front and center, or we write it off if it makes sense to write it off, or we put it on our budget as an expectation. And if you're not expecting to get it, or if you are, you should put it on here as money expected to be received in your year.
Yeah, we went to our court, got the property, but we had to tear that down. Off of park, behind
And then I had one more question, because that 103 on the corner's for sale. Who owns the lot next to it?
on park,
Well, it's Main Street.
yeah, main park.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman that bought the one next,
Okay, so that one was sold.
that one was sold.
Okay.
This one's up for sale. I see they just sold it, or did we mow it? Or did the bank mow it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I sent David a message about.
It doesn't, I mean, I'm not worried about that. I was just like, if it was up for sale, we should have, they should both be up for sale.
No, the one, someone does own the one. David knows
Okay.
who bought it.
Okay, so someone did buy it from us. We don't have any other things like that, other than the Eden Fruit building that's left, right? Okay.
Karina,
Thanks, Rena.
on page 19, under Water and Sewer Fund, see the IEPA required testing says 9,500. The last budget said 95,000. I'm presuming that was a typo on the last. Okay, just wanted to verify.
So on the water and sewer, did you push the Win 911 to 2026?
Yes, I did. It was always at 26.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. However, we finally got our SSAs figured out with the county, and they owe us 90,000. That's going to be due on September. I don't want to spend it before we have it, but we may have then an extra 60,000 coming in this year that we did not anticipate. And I would suggest that we earmark that for the Win 911, even if we can start towards maybe end of the year and then finish the rest in the new fiscal year.
All right.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna do that, shouldn't we show it as expected income on our budget?
I would
And
do it
earmark
as,
it for
I would
that?
do it as an amended budget. I want to wait and see that we actually get it first.
It's been going on for a couple
Because
years.
we're asking them for a 3-year
Yeah.
payment up front.
I understand that, but if you're putting it on as income and you're putting it on as an expense and you don't get either one, you're not gonna spend the expense if you don't get the income. So it's they kinda go together, and we could still show it on the budget with the expectation that we hope to get
I
it.
can do either amend the budget, which would not be a big deal, or I can add it in and then add an extra 60,000 for an
So
expense.
to amend the budget, if we didn't put it on in the beginning, to amend the budget then means we have to put it on a board meeting.
We normally say that just we'll do it at the very end of the year, next April. We look and we do one amendment for what has been needed and coming in on it. We don't do an amendment every time we change something. Just add it to a spreadsheet, and then in April, we'll do a final amendment.
But if so then I think it should be on the budget then, because then it's understood ahead of time that the expectation is we're gonna have this money, and the expectation is that it would go towards that, then you don't have to,
Like I said, we can do either way. I can add it back in and then add an extra 60,000 to this year for, the expense. Whatever way you
knowing that
guys
if
want
you
to
do
do
or
it,
don't get it,
doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's an in and out, it would be zero effect.
right. I'm just not sure why we amend the budget all after the fact if we know ahead of time that some of these things are gonna happen, and we're transparent in it.
We hope that they can come up with a full
Right.
90,000.
Right.
I'll be more than happy to put it in, no biggie.
And what's everybody else think? Yeah, it's on the budget.
But what if we don't get it?
Well, then if you don't get it, you don't
It
spend
doesn't
it.
get used.
It's the same thing as earmarking the money for the parks,
Right.
same thing.
But what if he goes and tries to
To spend the $60,000, he'd have to do it under our approval. Just
Right.
because we're doing the budget and it's on the budget doesn't mean it's gonna
But Don
be
talked
spent.
about doing things in increments as well. The last budget meeting,
And
instead
that's
of
what
doing
this-
the whole SCADA up front, we do it in sections. Or it's more affordable
And that's where the 60 would come into play,
if we got it.
if we got it.
Right, right,
They're just, like she said, earmarking it.
yeah.
It shows up, it shows
Well,
up, it doesn't,
matter
it
either
doesn't.
way, I'm just saying, why would we just simple amendment once we have the money? Do you have to do it at the end of the year, or can you do it when the money comes in?
Well, I don't think we should spend anything until we have the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but.
But then we have to wait and see if we can do it in increments If not, we would have to start it towards next April so that we can use both fiscal years.
But to me, it's clear to anybody, so we're going to have a change in the board at some point in time. They can look back at this and say, okay, this is what you had, not this is what you talked about, that they have to go back and listen to meetings and everything. They can see, well, you were expecting the 60,000, you didn't get it, so, you know, what happened? It can be discussed. To me, it's transparency. But it's not, if it's not on here.
It's the taxes, we did the service
Yeah, he
area
sent out the
for
bills.
Oak Lawn.
So
And we're
if they don't
charging
pay their
them
tax
for the
bills,
hookup, and it's about $30,000 annually that they owe us for 10 years.
but it didn't make it sound like it was a negotiation that we weren't going to get it, that they could come back and say no.
No, it was the county that messed up. They messed up for
Correct.
3 years.
If they don't
Correct.
pay it, they'll sell the taxes.
Yeah,
Somebody will buy
so you're
it.
going to get it.
Because they're gonna
So
get a mobile
that's why
home
I'm
park
like,
for
you're gonna get it.
$60,000.
Put it on there.
I'll put it on.
Right.
Karina, on page 27, Capital Projects Fund, I noticed their economic development, 7,000 was added, whereas the last budget from last week didn't have that 7,000. Maybe I'm just forgetting.
No, it's there. It's for GWA. It's for the report that we have. They are saying that there was going to be extra money, and we only had, so it was started at 29. So I just figured what we haven't paid yet. That's why I added a 7,000.
So that 60, potential 60 we're just talking about, are you gonna put as a line item for the,
It's on the connection fees for water and
no,
sewer.
I'm saying the one that the county showed us that you're,
It
are
will
you
be
gonna put it
connection.
down for the
They're-
WIN
they're-
911?
I will move 60,000 from the WIN 911 to this current year, you know, to
Gotcha.
offset the 60.
And then put revenue in for 60
For 60.
also.
Correct.
Karina, on the last page, 29, the very top line item.
Where do you have 27 and 29?
I know, he's up his,
On the agenda pack. Oh, I have a different version. I printed out my own.
Oh,
So sorry for the confusion.
yeah, well, like, look
what are you talking about? I know.
So the other numbering, page 22.
page
Got
22.
it.
Tell me the heading of the page.
Page 22, everyone should have page 22
Yep,
on theirs. 90 government funds, capital projects fund.
Right?
The first line, streets administration, that says 55,000. I noticed on the budget from last week it said 405,000. I didn't understand where that difference came from.
Department 53,
The one that says streets, the line item 9053 4460,
Yes.
it is 55,000, and that is the public workshop and the furnace for 100 South State Street. It was there last time.
So
very
on
last page.
the last budget it says 405,000. Is that amount not correct then?
I'm not sure where you see the 405.
On the budget, on the last agenda packet for last week, that's what it said, 405,000.
Okay, I do not have that with me. I still was 55 last year. May I come up and look and see what you're looking at?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one right below that for equipment is 130,000 less.
So 405, yeah, it says CIP, Streets Administration, last
155.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, those would have been from, we did take out stuff from this before, so I would have reduced it to this. But I would have to look, it would have been on your other page for the capital improvements.
The 55 is the motor fuel, isn't it?
55 is community development. 20 is motor fuel. So this is what's making
Well,
up.
isn't it wait.
what
I'm not
is
talking,
here.
I'm not talking account numbers, I'm talking about the dollar amount. The 55,000 shows as street administration.
Okay. That's the one we just looked at for 50,000 for the Public Works building and 5,000. We have been waiting for the furnace and the old old village hall to go.
All grooming business.
I'll give you the difference.
Okay. I just wasn't sure why there was such a big difference.
Right,
I
but
couldn't figure it
that,
out.
the 55 is correct because
Okay.
that matches up.
last week's.
Last,
Printout.
this
Oh,
is
yeah, that
last
was.
week's printout.
Right.
Yeah, 405 and 155, and now it's 55 and 25.
So what had happened?
You gotta look.
See, I build the budget so I can come up with this summary page. And then when I put it in the system, it's just a retyping of whatever.
So that's on the summary page, all the changes?
No, the summary page is just how everything ends up. It's showing that we have a balanced budget. And it shows, I changed the, how much we're changing and moving to Fund 90. That went down to 158. And if I'm making up for the forensic audit, it's going to go down, additionally. And that is also where I took the money to fund the administrative position.
Or 10. Well, for general administration, we have a total of 15,000.
We're trying to figure that out.
I said I will get back to him. I'll give him,
Okay.
yeah.
As far as any salary change, well, I don't want to talk stuff. Do we need to reflect any of that if that, passes?
I did put in $100,000. I took that from the amount that we're putting into Fund 90. I reduced it to cover, so the administrator is covered for this year for $100,000. That will be in next budget.
Next budget. Yeah, that wouldn't be this year. You have to do it
That's after the
180
election.
days ahead of time.
got what they want? No questions?
All of them got answered, the main ones that I was.
Owen, Austin, Betsy?
I move to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion to go to adjourn, and we got a second
Other way around.
by, I'm sorry, motion by Austin and a second by Owen. All the, I have one thing. One thing before we adjourn? Yes. Now, this guy, the ladies just run her up. Hey, chick. Oh! She flushes something like, I know. How hard we are for punch them out here. Our North Boone girls, taking
Softball.
second state? They took
Softball.
second in state.
Runner up. Congratulations to him.
Like some, like over the tourist attraction, put it on that or something?
Like we have down by the post office. Yeah.
Yeah. That's state. That's how that last one.
So if we can make a note for David, want me to do it? Okay.
Come there, Gus. They usually. We get a plaque. We will mount it.
No, that's good.
All right.
He usually doesn't give us anything.
All in favor?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.